If you clicked this video, it's probably because the unofficial Hollow Knight port didn't run on your phone, didn't download, or maybe you've already beaten the game and want something similar. Either way, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into 10 mobile games that capture the magic of Hollow Knight, from tight combat to epic exploration. I'll show you what's alike, what's different, and why each is worth your time. Before we start, hit like, subscribe, and as usual, I spent time looking where you can download all these games. Check the video description. Alright, let's jump in. We're kicking things off with Dead Cells. Now I know, you hear this one all the time. It's the Roguevania everyone mentions. But here's the deal. While Hollow Knight is a masterclass in a tight, interconnected world, Dead Cells is about pure, unadulterated, skill-based chaos. You are the prisoner, a slimy little guy who just won't stay dead. Every time you die, and you will die, you possess a new body and start the run all over again. No checkpoints, no safe havens, it's just you, your reflexes, and a whole lot of monsters. The combat is lightning fast, dashing, parrying, chaining together wild attacks. It's not about memorizing one big map, it's about mastering branching paths and biomes that change every single time. The story takes a back seat. This is all about the action. If you love that Souls-like challenge but want something that moves at the speed of sound, you have to try this. Coming in at number 9, we have DANDARA. Listen, if you think you've seen all the movement a 2D game can offer, this game is here to prove you completely wrong. You do not walk. You do not run. You leap. You warp. You stick to any surface. Walls, ceilings, floors. In this world that's been completely coated in salt. It is disorienting in the best way possible. The combat is all about precision and strategy. You're firing off ranged attacks, planning your next leap, and managing a Souls-like system where you collect salt to power up and lose it if you die. It has that interconnected map and ability-gated progression you love, but the way you navigate it is just wild. It's fast, unique, and pulling off a perfect sequence of leaps and shots is incredibly satisfying. At number 8, we're getting into some dark, Lovecraftian horror with ELDERAND. This is a gritty, pixel art Metroidvania that leans hard into its RPG elements. You're a mercenary exploring a cursed land absolutely packed with monstrous bosses. Now, like Hollow Knight, exploration and skill-based combat are key. But here's the twist. You're constantly leveling up your stats, collecting new gear, and tweaking your loadout. The movement feels a bit heavier, more deliberate compared to the Knight's fluidity, and the story is delivered in a more traditional way. If you're craving that classic Castlevania vibe with deep RPG mechanics layered on top of your Metroidvania exploration, ELDERAND is your jam. Sliding into the number 7 spot is RUNIC Curse. This one is a straight-up blend of Metroidvania exploration and Souls-like combat. You play as Adrian, exploring a cursed island to find your lost crew and lift a dark curse. The combat is tactical and stamina-based, so you can't just spam attacks. You need to time your dodges and strikes carefully against some seriously challenging bosses. You'll unlock new abilities that let you backtrack to previously inaccessible areas, which will feel very familiar and comforting to any Hollow Knight veteran. The key difference here is the pace. The movement and combat feel a bit heavier and more methodical. The story is simpler, but it absolutely scratches that itch for exploration, mixed with a tough tactical challenge. At number 6, we have the beautiful and melancholic 9 Years of Shadows. This game drops you into a massive, mechanical castle that has been completely drained of all its color. You play as Europa, who is accompanied by a little floating teddy bear named Apino, who just so happens to be both your ranged weapon and your shield. The combat is super strategic because your shield recharges only when it's fully depleted, so you have to manage it carefully. The exploration is classic Metroidvania, but the movement is the real twist. Instead of tight, momentum-based platforming, you get elemental armors that grant new abilities and a heavy reliance on backdashing. The storytelling is also more direct. It's about restoring color and hope to a broken world, rather than uncovering cryptic lore. It's challenging, unique, and honestly, just gorgeous to look at. Breaking into the top 5 is the hand-drawn beauty, After Image. This game is fast-paced, visually stunning, and absolutely massive. You play Renee, exploring a huge, interconnected world. The movement is fantastic, with all the double jumps, air dashes, and wall jumps you could ask for. But the combat is where it really diverges from Hollow Knight. It's super combo heavy with a huge variety of weapons and elemental attacks. It's faster and flashier, leaning more into action. The storytelling is more direct, though it can get a little vague at times. But if you want a Metroidvania that focuses on speed, style, and an almost overwhelming amount of combat variety, After Image is an absolute must-play. Of course, we can't have a list like this without the game that literally defined the genre. At number 4, it's the legendary Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. This is the classic template. You are Alucard, exploring the ever-shifting castle of Dracula, unlocking new abilities that open up new paths. The core loop of 2D exploration and ability-gated progression is exactly what Hollow Knight fans love. The big differences are the RPG-style combat, which is a bit slower, the heavy focus on gear and spells, and its more traditional gothic vibe. Now, it's on mobile, and while the touch controls can be tricky, with a controller, it's an absolute dream. This is a history lesson every fan needs to play. Alright, top 3, kicking it off is Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. This game is a phenomenal 2.5D action-adventure that takes the Metroidvania formula and polishes it to a mirror shine. You play as Sargon, a warrior with incredible agility, exploring the cursed Mount Koth. The platforming is insanely fluid, and the combat is fast, flashy, and combo-focused. Think Devil May Cry style, but in a Metroidvania. It has all the rewarding exploration, shortcuts, and ability-gated paths you'd expect. But it sets itself apart with a more cinematic story and an incredibly slick, stylish presentation. If you're an action platformer enthusiast, this is an easy recommendation. So close! At number 2, we have the brutally punishing Blasphemous. This game is a perfect fusion of Metroidvania and Souls-like difficulty, wrapped in a deeply disturbing religious horror aesthetic. You are the penitent one, silent and suffering in the land of Custodia. The combat is all about precision, learning enemy patterns, parrying, and landing devastating counterattacks. The interconnected world, brutal bosses, and unlocking new abilities to revisit areas will feel like a dark, twisted homecoming for Hollow Knight players. The key differences are the heavier movement, a slower, more deliberate pace, and its grim tone. It also has build customization through relics and prayers. It's intense, punishing, and an experience you will never, ever forget. And here we are, the number 1 pick for Hollow Knight fans looking for their next obsession, HAAK Mobile. This is a full-fat, cyberpunk Metroidvania that you can play on your phone. You play as HAAK, searching a post-apocalyptic wasteland for your lost brother. The movement is incredible. You have a grapple hook, a dash, slow-motion combat, and all the ability-based progression you crave. It has the classic Hollow Knight structure of a sprawling map filled with secrets, challenging but fair bosses, and multiple endings. It takes that familiar feel and gives it a fresh, sci-fi neon twist. If you loved Hollow Knight and want a deep, satisfying, and content-packed adventure on the go, HAAK is not just a recommendation, it's a must-play. And that's a wrap on the 10 best mobile games like Hollow Knight you must play in 2025. From punishing Souls-like battles to creative platforming and cinematic adventures, these games prove Hollow Knight's spirit lives on in mobile form. Missed part of the list? Check the video description for downloads. Smash that like button, subscribe, and comment your favorites. I read every one. Stay tuned for more mobile game recommendations in 2025.